The 99-2000 season. And again, it was good timing, as we touched on earlier. We were quite lucky, me and you of our age group, but we had them times because it was such a regular occurrence, wasn't it? I remember the club shop selling a T-shirt with all the names of the scalps, Premier League scalps we had with ticks next to the names and things like that. It had been around that time, 99-2000. The season before, I'd probably been to a handful of games from a friend, but I became emotionally invested that season, I think. And, the game against Middlesbrough, which was the 2-1 win in the Cup, I didn't go to it, but I watched it on Sky Sports. And I remember feeling so nervous. And I thought, this is the first Tranmere game I've genuinely been nervous for. It was the dying moments of the game, and it was 2-1 to Tranmere. And that was probably that game I think I could really pass it back to that. So, yeah, the back end in 1999 onwards. And, yeah, they've ruined many a weekend since then, I can tell you that, Matt.
It's really interesting because when you started following them, and the same will be for John, your stepdad, and for some of our other listeners as well, who are latecomers to the party, if you like, they will be able to look at that moment and go, that's when they gripped me. That's when they had me. I knew I was making a real investment here emotionally for probably life. Whereas many listeners who started at a young age, like myself, I can't remember a time when I didn't follow them. So it's difficult for me to go, that's the game where I knew I was in, if you like, because it's just always since I started liking football, it's always been there, if that makes sense. So it's a nice thing from your point of view that you can look back and go, yeah, this is the kind of the game or the period that changed my life, because it did change your life, because it will change all of your habits around what you do of a weekend.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I was a regular at Prenton Park after that. And, bear in mind, I mentioned my Villa allegiances earlier, travelling down to the Midlands for home matches. It was a lot of money, even in the late 1990s, because it was trains and on top of match tickets. Tranmere was closer. It was cheaper. Easier to get to because it was the days before I could drive. So I'd be jumping on the train to Lime Street and then over to Birkenhead Central. So, yeah, it became a regular sort of routine. And down the years, I've watched Rovers with different people. And it's amazing how many people I've come across who are Tranmere fans that have actually lived locally as well. I've always said Tranmere are missing a trick because they have always said it's Wirrell's family club, Wirrell's club, but the whole of North Cheshire, and I said this to Mark Palios many years ago at one of the open days, from Ellesmere Port, the conurbation across Helsby, Frodsham to Runcorn, there's hundreds of thousands of people there. Tranmere geographically is the closest EFL club. I think we're missing a trick down. There is a pool of people that could get in, not just from the Wirral, but from North Cheshire as well, because Chester FC are non-league. Even when Chester City were going, I had no affiliation to Chester whatsoever. So even though geographically they were closer, it was always Tranmere. So, yeah, it's amazing how it became part of my life, really. And, the tough times actually sort of just embedded me even more into it. When we went down to the National League in 2015, I remember saying to John, I want to get to as many away games as possible. And yeah, much to my mum's annoyance, he was out every single Saturday, I think, not doing jobs.
Oh, brilliant stuff. There are some away games where you do question, what am I doing here? When you're getting up early in the morning to drive to Dover or something. I remember getting a train to Southend when I was about 17 years old, and it was the day after my now wife's 18th birthday party. Not that we were together at that point, but her 18th birthday party was the day before. And I remember leaving it at 10 o'clock thinking, I've got to be up at 5, 6 o'clock just to get to Southend tomorrow morning. And it was rewarded because we won. And I think it was 2-1, and we went top of the league for a very brief period under Ronnie Moore. But it's funny the lengths you go to these games, and you do get up at silly o'clock and think, why am I doing this?
100%. And the memories are sticking to my mind. Some of the humbling moments we had during the National League days, Matt. Maidenhead on a Tuesday night. It was a 7:45 kickoff. I'd been up since about 4 a.m. Did an early shift in work. Organised an early finish. I had to go and pick John up. I picked my mate Cogs up. Drove down to Maidenhead, and we absolutely stumped the place out and lost 1-0 in the 88th minute. And it was on that time when Mickey's job was on the line, and we'd had that awful start to the 2017-18 season. There's been plenty.